This is the Golden Gate. It's the east gate. It's known as the Mercy Gate to Jerusalem. As you can tell, it's been sealed up for a long, long time.
Imagine a gate sealed for centuries suddenly swings open. What could this mean? Right in the heart of Jerusalem, the Eastern Gate, also known as the Golden Gate, is more than just an old structure. It's a symbol loaded with deep meanings for Jews, Christians, and Muslims. This gate stands as a beacon of ancient hopes and a testament to shared histories. Now, with this gate mysteriously opened, what are we to think? Join us as we discover what awaits us when the long sealed gate finally opens, Jerusalem's timeless mystery. Many believers think that when Jesus reopens this sealed gate, it will mark his return and the fulfillment of God's promises. This belief connects the past with the future, weaving together prophecies, historical events, and core beliefs, showing a continuous thread through Christian teachings. God has fulfilled his plan to save humanity, and his kingdom is now established. This brings us to an ancient gate in Jerusalem, a city that holds deep meaning for many religions and has been the site of many important events, making it a place of great significance. For Christians, the gate is a powerful symbol of cherished traditions in the awaited return of Jesus Christ. It's not just an old relic, it's a living symbol that continues to inspire and make people think, showing the lasting impact of faith, connecting the physical world with the spiritual, and influencing modern religious beliefs. Jerusalem's ancient heart is surrounded by strong walls with 8 main gates. Among them, the Eastern Gate, which faces the Mount of Olives, is particularly special. It is closed and is considered the oldest, built around 520 AD. Christians often refer to it as the Golden Gate, and it is celebrated for its historical and spiritual importance, playing a key role in the ongoing story of faith and prophecy in the region. But this isn't the most striking part. The fact that the Eastern Gate is sealed adds even more significance. This closure has led to various interpretations and prophecies among believers. Many link it to important biblical prophecies, making it a focal point for those studying prophetic texts. Its location opposite the Mount of Olives also ties it to major events in Jesus' life, further enhancing its importance in Christian tradition. It stands as a symbol of the city's resilience and its vital role in the spiritual journeys of countless people around the world. But that's not all. The gate, known in Hebrew as Sha'ar Harachamim, is also the closest point to the former Jewish temple, making it a significant place for Jewish prayer and gathering. It was sealed by the Ottoman Sultan Suleiman in 1541. Today, the gate has 2 entrances leading to arched rooms, showcasing the 16th century architectural style. It began during King Hezekiah's reign, was improved during Zerubbabel's time, and saw significant developments during the Hasmonean dynasty and the Herodian period. The gate we see today is believed to have been built on top of an older structure from the same wall. Even beneath the sealed entryway, an arch from the ancient gate is still visible, showing its deep historical roots and its connection to ancient traditions and beliefs. In the fading light, a path emerges, leading to stories waiting to be uncovered. A journey through time and tradition. The story begins on the marble pathways, where Rabbi Eliezer offers a different perspective. He suggests that this path isn't just an ordinary road, but is constructed with marble pillars and cedar boards. It's intended for the high priest and his assistants during important religious ceremonies, such as those involving the red heifer or the scapegoat on Yom Kippur. This pathway leads to a special gate known as the Shushan Gate, designed specifically for these sacred events. Historians debate the origins of this gate, with some believing it was built around 520 AD during the Byzantine era under Emperor Justinian I, using the foundation of an older gate. But that's not the whole story. Another theory suggests that the gate was constructed later, in the 7th century, by Byzantine artisans working for the Umayyad caliphs. Dutch archaeologist Leen Ritmeyer adds more intrigue by claiming that the large gateposts inside are remnants of an ancient gate, likely the Shushan Gate, mentioned in ancient texts as a key portal in the eastern wall from the First Temple period. Philosopher Maimonides provides further insight, describing the approach through the East Gate during the Second Temple period. Visitors would walk across flat land before climbing 12 steps to reach the Court of Women, emphasizing the gate's deep historical and religious significance in past ceremonies and processions. But there's more to uncover. The steps of this gate were about half a cubit in height and depth. During the Ottoman Empire, a small niche on the west side of what's now called the Golden Gate was used as a brick-making hub, crucial for maintaining the buildings within the Haram es-Sharif, also known as the Temple Mount. In the 19th century, the Sultan ordered the demolition of a mosque and part of the gate's wall to make way for further enhancements. This led to the creation of 2 new arches and a new section of the wall on the gate's western side. Accessing the gatehouse from the Temple Mount involved descending a broad staircase to a rectangular floor divided by columns, covering an area of 24 meters by 17 meters, with strong outer walls. But the discoveries don't stop there. Below the surface, the top of an ancient arch is visible through an underground tomb, indicating a much lower original ground level. The Golden Gate is seen not just as a functional structure, but as a piece of art. Unlike other gates that blend into the city walls, the eastern side of the Golden Gate juts out by 2 meters, showcasing the craftsmanship and aesthetic sense of its builders, with each side carefully decorated, reflecting the architectural brilliance of its time. These paths lead visitors towards 2 doors, the Door of Mercy, known as Bab el-Rahma, and the Door of Repentance, called Bab el-Tawbah. Above, there's a chamber with 2 large domes and 3 smaller domes over the walkways below. Historically, the eastern side of the building had 2 large entrances. These entrances, each about 12 feet 10 inches wide, were covered up during the Ottoman period, giving the gate a more serious appearance. The style of the Golden Gate is similar to other buildings in the Levant Union, showing a blend of cultural influences. Step through the gate into a world where history and legend meet, the sealed mysteries of Jerusalem's Golden Gate. As you enter the main hall through the gate, you step into a rectangular space with a dome above. This area is 66 feet 10 inches long and 34 feet 5 inches wide. Originally, it had 6 shallow domes, which were later replaced with 2 larger domes. These domes sit on arches that rise from 2 pilasters at the entrances and 2 central pillars, creating an elegant flow that guides visitors through this historically and spiritually important area. The combination of these architectural features, along with the rich history and mix of cultural influences, makes the Golden Gate a truly fascinating part of the Al-Aqsa area. It's not just a gate, it's a link between different times and cultures, showing the incredible skill and architectural brilliance of its creators. One unique feature of the Golden Gate's design is a part that sticks out 2 meters beyond the wall. This unusual detail makes people wonder about the gate's purpose and its historical importance. Muslims first sealed it in 810. The Crusaders opened it again in 1102, but Saladin closed it in 1187. Later in 1541, Ottoman Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent renovated the gate and the city walls around it, only to seal them for good. This closure has lasted to this day, and the reasons go beyond just defense. Suleiman's decision to seal the gate might have been partly for defense, but it also had religious reasons. According to Jewish tradition, the Messiah is supposed to enter through the Golden Gate. Suleiman, knowing that Muslims also recognize Jesus as a Messiah, might have sealed it to prevent any false claims. To make sure, the Ottomans set up a cemetery in front of the gate, believing that Elijah, who is supposed to come before the Messiah, wouldn't cross the cemetery. However, some Jewish laws allow priests to enter cemeteries under certain conditions. But that's not all. In recent years, Israeli authorities restricted access to the Golden Gate on Temple Mount in 2003 because it was managed by a group connected to Hamas. They also wanted to stop unauthorized construction by the Islamic Waqf that was damaging ancient Jewish artifacts. Despite these issues, the inside of the gate was reopened for Muslim worshippers in February 2019, though the gate itself remains sealed. This ongoing closure shows how history, religion, and politics continue to shape the story of the Golden Gate. Over the centuries, Jerusalem's walls and gates have been destroyed and rebuilt many times. The Eastern Gate, however, stands out as the oldest, remaining in its original spot throughout history. During Suleiman the Magnificent's renovations between 1539 and 1542, this gate was left as it was. Large stones from the 6th century BC, likely from Nehemiah's time, show its deep historical roots. Suleiman's decision to close the gate was especially significant given his Islamic faith, but it highlighted a much deeper connection between different beliefs and histories. The Eastern Gate, a place with a lot of historical importance, has faced many challenges over time. During the Six-Day War, a group of Jewish soldiers thought about forcibly opening the Eastern Gate, seeing it as a great victory. However, their plan was stopped by an Orthodox Jewish rabbi who insisted that the gate must stay closed until the Messiah arrives, according to long-standing religious beliefs. Behind these ancient walls, power struggles and dreams await discovery. Secrets of Jerusalem's Eastern Wall. But this wasn't the first time someone tried to change the fate of the Eastern Gate. Back in 1917, during World War I, leaders from the Muslim community had a drastic plan to demolish the gate, to challenge the prophecy, and show their power. However, by a twist of fate, the city came under British rule on the very day they planned to carry out the demolition. This event added another layer to the gate's already complex history, which seems to be guided by both destiny and faith. Jewish religious leaders strongly believe that the Messiah will come as a powerful figure from the east and will enter through the eastern gate of Jerusalem, bringing freedom to the city. To prevent this, many centuries ago, Muslims sealed the gate and built a cemetery in front of it, thinking that no devout rabbi would cross a burial ground, which would stop the prophecy from coming true. Ironically, this action only emphasized the very prophecy they were trying to prevent. But that's not all. The connection between history and ancient prophecies also appears in Christian texts. In the New Testament, during the events of Pentecost as described in Acts 2, Peter refers to the prophet Joel's predictions, which are traditionally linked to the second coming of Christ. This ties back to the Golden Gate, mentioned in Ezekiel chapter 44, verse 1-2, as being important in future prophetic events. Even though Jesus never specifically mentioned the Eastern Gate, Peter's reference to this prophecy hints at a deeper meaning, possibly offering a glimpse of what might come. Another interesting idea is the concept of a foretaste, which suggests that the Golden Gate might be an early sign of what the Eastern Gate could represent in the future millennial kingdom. However, it's important to balance this view with clear scriptural teachings rather than just historical events or beliefs. Many believe Ezekiel was referring to a temple gate, not the current Golden Gate. And there's more. A fascinating Jewish tradition links the sealed Golden Gate with the expected return of the Shekinah, or God's divine presence during the Messianic age. This elevates the Golden Gate from just being a physical structure to symbolizing hope and a divine promise. It's seen as a precursor to the East Gate that may play a role in the future millennial temple, noted for its unique location and long closure. Through centuries of traditions, interpretations of scripture, and human actions, the story of the Eastern Gate remains a key part of discussions about Jerusalem's future and the unfolding of divine prophecies. Almost 500 years ago, Sultan Suleiman, an important Muslim figure, made significant decisions that continue to impact the story of this gate and its place in religious and historical conversations. Suleiman the Magnificent took a bold step when he filled the Eastern Gate of Jerusalem with 16 feet of concrete. This wasn't just about making the gate stronger. It had a deep religious meaning too. It's believed that he wanted to stop anything that might fulfill Christian prophecies about the coming of the Messiah. This gate, also known as the Golden Gate, is very important in biblical predictions and has intrigued many people interested in religious prophecies. For instance, the book of Ezekiel talks about this gate a lot. In Ezekiel 10:18-19, it describes how the divine presence leaves the temple through this gate, heading to the Mount of Olives. Then in Ezekiel chapter 11, verse 23, it talks about this divine presence coming back to the temple through the same gate, connecting past events with future hopes. The stones whisper of prophecies and dreams, promising more to uncover, a prophecy of hope and judgment. Ezekiel chapter 43, verse 1-5 gives a detailed account of how the glory of God returns to the temple through this gate, symbolizing a significant spiritual revival. But there's a twist in Ezekiel chapter 44, verse 1-2, where it's commanded that the gate should stay closed because the Lord has passed through it, making it too sacred for anyone else. Yet in Ezekiel chapter 46, verse 12, a prince is allowed to use the gate for offerings, which many believe refers to Jesus Christ. This ties in with the New Testament story in Matthew chapter 21, verse 1-11, where Jesus enters Jerusalem, fulfilling this prophecy of divine glory returning. Muslim authorities sealed this gate, and some see this as fulfilling the prophecy that it would remain closed until Christ returns. This idea sparks ongoing discussions among believers who think the gate will only reopen when Jesus comes back, entering Jerusalem through this very gate as predicted in Zechariah chapter 14, verse 4. But the story doesn't end here. The Golden Gate is also deeply significant in the Islamic tradition, especially under Muslim rule in Jerusalem. Figures like Ubadah ibn al-Samit saw a strong connection between the eastern wall of the holy site and beliefs about the end times. Renowned Islamic scholar Ibn Kathir explained that this wall is not the same as the one mentioned in Surah 57 verse 13 of the Quran, though early Islamic scholars often referenced it in their interpretations. This might have started the tradition of burying people just outside the eastern wall of the Al-Aqsa Mosque. This name hints at a symbolic connection to the site, especially the sacred rock associated with end-times prophecies. Therefore, Bab al-Rahmah is not just a physical gate, but also a symbolic entry to paradise or divine mercy, adding to its spiritual importance in the community. This lasting sanctity may explain why, especially during the medieval and Crusader periods, Jews gathered here to pray for divine mercy, seeing it as a gateway to the spiritual realm. Christian texts outside the Bible place this historic gate at the center of a key event, the meeting of Mary's parents, which leads to the idea of the Immaculate Conception. Many artworks show Joachim and Anne meeting at the spot, capturing important moments in Mary's story. Some scholars think this gate might be the same as the beautiful gate mentioned in the book of Acts, chapter 3, though this is debated because of possible confusion between the Latin word aurea and the Greek word auros. But this is just one part of the gate's complex history. According to the Bible, Jesus entered Jerusalem through this gate on Palm Sunday, fulfilling Ezekiel's prophecy. This story is supported by the Synoptic Gospels, adding more layers to the gate's historical and spiritual importance. These stories make the gate a powerful symbol of key religious events and prophecies within the city's spiritual history. Jesus' journey from the Mount of Olives to the Temple Mount is described in Mark chapter 11 verse 1 and chapter 11 verse 11, with the Pharisees possibly watching from the Temple Mount, according to the Gospel of John. For those who follow Ezekiel chapter 44 verse 1 to 3's prophecy, the Golden Gate holds deep spiritual meaning. For Muslims, this gate is known as Bab al-Rahmah, which translates to Golden Gate or Gate of Eternal Life. But this gate isn't just an old, beautiful structure. It's a place filled with deep religious importance. Muslims believe it's where the final judgment and resurrection will happen. Christians share this reverence, showing a unique connection between the two faiths over this gate, with each attributing different spiritual meanings to it. This shared respect adds to the Golden Gate's historical and cultural significance, making it a powerful symbol for both religious communities. The gate's history is rich with cultural and spiritual depth, resonating across different faiths. The Golden Gate's layered history and spiritual significance spark a profound question: can its shared symbolism unite different faiths? If you enjoyed this discussion, please like, comment, and subscribe. This name hints at a symbolic connection to the site, especially the sacred rock associated with end-times prophecies. Therefore, Bab al-Rahmah is not just a physical gate, but also a symbolic entry to paradise or divine mercy, adding to its spiritual importance in the community. This lasting sanctity may explain why, especially during the medieval and Crusader periods, Jews gathered here to pray for divine mercy, seeing it as a gateway to the spiritual realm. Christian texts outside the Bible place this historic gate at the center of a key event, the meeting of Mary's parents, which leads to the idea of the Immaculate Conception. Many artworks show Joachim and Anne meeting at the spot, capturing important moments in Mary's story. Some scholars think this gate might be the same as the beautiful gate mentioned in the book of Acts, chapter 3, though this is debated because of possible confusion between the Latin word aurea and the Greek word auros. But this is just one part of the gate's complex history. According to the Bible, Jesus entered Jerusalem through this gate on Palm Sunday, fulfilling Ezekiel's prophecy. This story is supported by the Synoptic Gospels, adding more layers to the gate's historical and spiritual importance. These stories make the gate a powerful symbol of key religious events and prophecies within the city's spiritual history. Jesus' journey from the Mount of Olives to the Temple Mount is described in Mark chapter 11 verse 1 and chapter 11 verse 11, with the Pharisees possibly watching from the Temple Mount, according to the Gospel of John. For those who follow Ezekiel chapter 44 verse 1 to 3's prophecy, the Golden Gate holds deep spiritual meaning. For Muslims, this gate is known as Bab al-Rahmah, which translates to Golden Gate or Gate of Eternal Life. But this gate isn't just an old, beautiful structure. It's a place filled with deep religious importance. Muslims believe it's where the final judgment and resurrection will happen. Christians share this reverence, showing a unique connection between the two faiths over this gate, with each attributing different spiritual meanings to it. This shared respect adds to the Golden Gate's historical and cultural significance, making it a powerful symbol for both religious communities. The gate's history is rich with cultural and spiritual depth, resonating across different faiths. The Golden Gate's layered history and spiritual significance spark a profound question: can its shared symbolism unite different faiths? If you enjoyed this discussion, please like, comment, and subscribe.